Hello and welcome to the next episode. I believe it's episode 4 now of Miles and Miles NBA podcast, named TBD.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, thank you again for all of our loyal fans for tuning in. Hi, Miles.
Hello, Miles.
Lots to talk about in the NBA this week.
100%.
So I guess we should start. Let's just talk real quick because it's kind of the big news of the day. We're recording on Election Day.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time people listen to this, they'll probably definitely know all the results and all that. But really the point of me mentioning that is Joel Embiid today was announced suspended for 3 games by the NBA due to a confrontation with a reporter.
Do you know his name?
It's like Marcus Hayes or something like that, I want to say. For those who aren't fully in the loop, an article was put out regarding Joel Embiid's absence to start the season. He hasn't played in any games yet because he's nursing a foot injury or knee injury. Lower body injury, and
I think he had 2 surgeries coming off.
Yeah, I mean, this is also this is a guy who's played through pain multiple times in the play. So this whole idea of Joel Embiid doesn't want to play, he's soft or whatever. I think that off the bat is crazy.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Where this reporter I think went a little too far, and where Joel Embiid had issues was he mentioned his dead brother, his dead younger brother Arthur. Who passed away in like a car accident, I want to say.
Yeah, in his first year with Philly.
Yeah.
And he named his son after him.
Right.
And the reporter basically had this quote where he's like, Joel's someone who, he talks about his biggest motivations being his late brother and his son, but I'm not seeing that, which is just a crazy turnaround,
he's like,
correlation.
To be great and live up to that. Like, basically implying that he's disrespecting his
pretty much
deceased brother by not playing, which is crazy. So I honestly think, like, not one to advocate violence or anything, but Joel Embiid, I think
I frown and find out.
I honestly don't. I have issues with the suspension. I mean, I think this reporter should probably be banned from, like,
I think that should have been the first
the
move.
NBA.
If they were going to fine Joel some money for putting his hands on a reporter, I understand that.
Yeah.
But to suspend him a couple games, it definitely feels like they're taking that side. And then the Philly, like Elton Brand and Morey, had to put out a report being like, oh, well, we definitely don't condone his actions. We talked to Marcus Hayes about it. And it's just, it's I don't know. We don't know exactly what happened, how physical Joel was. Like, he's a big guy. He doesn't have to push him that big, but
because when it was all coming out, there were some things on Twitter where there were some reports coming out that he struck a reporter, as if it was like a punch, but then it came out and Shams later kind of confirmed it, that it was more of a shove rather than like a punch. But I guess, I totally agree with you where it does kind of feel like all this blame is being put solely on Joel and not enough on Marcus Hayes, the reporter, where I think he was just totally in the wrong to do something like that. And Joel Embiid, I mean, you can call it unprofessional or wrong, violence is bad, but he had a very human reaction, I would say.
Absolutely. And for someone that, has taken a lot of hate from the internet and the media, this was definitely something that everyone could kind of rally behind, being like, all right, like, we might not like Joel, like his attitude sometimes, the way he plays and whatever, but he is absolutely not in the wrong. And if someone's going to speak on your family, your dead family, your child, like, it's means for, like, confrontation. And, like, he's a big guy. Again, we don't know what exactly happened, but I would have liked to see the NBA definitely have his back a little bit more, or at least the members of Philadelphia.
Yeah, like, and I guess there's also things where it's like, I guess maybe like on Morey's side, they want to like avoid a lawsuit or whatever. Sure. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but like, I do agree with you. It just kind of seems weak that we kind of like you can just say whatever you want about. I mean, and then there's the other argument where it's like these guys are paid like an absurd amount of money. Yeah. You should be able to essentially say whatever you want about them, except I think we both agree this guy definitely crossed the line. It was way too far.
Yeah, you can talk about an athlete's play all you want, his attitude even, like you can talk about that, but as soon as you start bringing in family, like
that's a line crossed.
Yeah, there's no room for that in the sports media.
Yeah, and I think it kind of reminds me a little bit, I guess not even really that much like it, because the Charles Barkley thing that happened way back was with a fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like if we want to go into Malice,
when he threw
Palace,
didn't Charles Barkley throw him through a window?
No, that was something else.
Okay,
I think he
else.
like spit on a fan because they were heckling him, but he missed and hit another fan or
also
whatever.
A different time.
Right, different time. But it's like this whole thing where it's like people are gonna have human reactions, and we shouldn't define people based off of essentially, like, if someone had just put it out there, if my brother had passed away and some asshole put out an article criticizing me and putting my brother in it, I'd probably get really upset about it too.
Using the death of a family member to like talk about your
in the heat of the moment
play,
if I saw that person, I don't know how I'd react.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I would definitely be mad though. So
I'm confrontational. I'm certainly gonna say something. I'm not 7 foot 300 pounds, but like
so I don't think this is a bad look for Joel. If anything, it's quite the opposite in my eyes. I do think the 3-game suspension is weak.
It's a shame,
especially because the guy's already having to sit out due to injury.
Mm-hmm. And they just like were talking about him coming back maybe this week,
and the NBA did some whole weird investigation into Joel Embiid being hurt and the Philadelphia 76ers like communication on that.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems at this moment that
there were some weird things.
Sure, but that. Like
I do wish teams would be a little more honest. I know they're worried about ticket sales and a lot of the other things that come with running an organization, but it's weird how little information gets released, how important information. There's a lot of teams that are very well known for it. Nick Nurse is a coach that's known for like giving misinformation.
I mean, I was just gonna say, like, why do the Sixers get such a hard time, but the Clippers seem to make up all sorts of timelines around Kawhi Leonard.
Please investigate.
I never know what's going on with them.
It's always been bad. It's been bad for years. And the weird report by Ty Lue this week, not to change the subject too fast.
No, go for it. You're good.
There is I forget who released it. Maybe it was Shams. It was like, Ty Lue says that Kawhi won't play this week.
Was he expected
Great.
to?
I don't know. I wasn't thinking that he was. I don't know. Is that good news? Is that bad news? Should I take it as no news?
Well, I guess when we last spoke, we had some overreactions about the early portion, I guess the first week or two of the NBA season. Now, I guess we're almost a month in, and do you think any of those, like the Clippers, for example, Zubac had a Wilt Chamberlain-like start to the regular season. He's looking a little more mortal these days. Still really great, but how do you feel about the Clippers start versus how they're looking now?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, we played a lot of close games. We played a lot of competitive teams. And every game has kind of gone down to the wire. I've noticed... since that first week when Zubac was averaging 23 and 13 on great efficiency and just like looking really dominant, we kind of stopped going to him. And the Harden and Zoo pick and rolls are much less. The just like the actions involving him seem to kind of gone away. And he's still, he's still putting up decent numbers. It's definitely, I'm no longer, going to be spreading the propaganda of Zoo for MIP based on what I've seen this week, but I can definitely see him improving and like that changing a little bit. Overall, I've been most impressed with Norman Powell and Chris Dunn. Norman Powell looks like the most confident player in the NBA. He's ultra aggressive. He's always ready to shoot. I remember seeing that last year he was the best shooter, at least a best 3-point shooter with a hand in his face. And that has not gone away. And he's just taking more shots and they're going in. He's an absolute killer. He's way more aggressive than Harden. He's our leading scorer. He's definitely he's the offense. Like anytime we need a bailout, he's there. He's been keeping us in games. against the Spurs yesterday. We went down really horribly in the first quarter. It was 14-40. And it was the bench mob that kind of got us in, but then it was Norm that really took it to them and got us into the game and kind of finished it out for us.
And you like Chris Dunn?
Chris Dunn is a saint. Chris Dunn can yeah, I would do a lot for Chris Dunn based on what I've seen.
It's
every
his
shot
defense,
he does,
really,
but
pretty much, right? That's his thing.
His decision making on offense is great. He takes the right shots. He attacks when it's needed. He's a decent rebounder for his size, and he's just everywhere. I love to see it. I wish he would get more minutes. I can kind of see him being like a Caruso type player where
I think that's a good comp.
Don't want him to play 30 minutes because he's going to run out of gas. But we might as well do it because he is a plus player. He's playing really well, and I definitely think he deserves to be. We talked about last year that we both wanted to see him in the starting lineup, and yeah, I'm still a fan of that.
So is he at this point in time in the starting lineup?
No, he's not even our first guy off the bench. I don't want to mention the first guy off the bench.
Wow, they're still bringing
unbelievable.
KPJ
the
off
highest
bench.
usage in the league. I don't know if
crazy.
that's still a thing, but it was at least like the
I
first
feel like this
4
Chris
games.
Dunn thing would have just killed Kevin Porter
You'd think.
Jr.
And like Amir Coffey had a good game last game.
Are they playing my guy? What's his name?
Who's your guy?
Your rookie?
Jordan Miller has not seen the floor.
I love Jordan Miller. Are they playing that guy yet?
No, he has not seen the floor, and he's supposed to be like an offensive guy, a guy that can get his own bucket. And pretty much we're just allowing KPJ to have that role.
Yeah,
Dude is
lame.
waiting on a suspension. I know the NBA got really quick on the Joel suspension. I'm still waiting to see KPJ get suspended for years. I've gone to the last couple Clipper games, and I spend the whole time spreading KPJ belongs in jail propaganda.
Does how many minutes per game is he getting? Like 20, 25?
About 20. And when he's playing, like the lineups are insane. He'll be playing with Harden, Norm, and Zoo, and he gets the ball.
Seems a little redundant.
It seems super redundant.
Yeah.
Might as well put DJJ, Chris Dunn, Batum, a defensive guy with those offensive guys.
Or a shooter even, yeah.
But he takes away from Harden and Norm.
Yeah.
Like, he gets the ball in his hands, and he gets a screen from Zoo. He's not going to give it back to Zoo, no matter how open he is, or if he is, it's going to be a turnover because he's a bad passer. But most of the time, he does a couple tweens, and maybe he makes a guy like fall a little bit. Like he is a good ball handler, but then he's gonna put up some garbage, and it's a brick, and it's I think he's shooting like under 20%, maybe a little over 20%. And for him to be the highest usage, or maybe it's top 10 highest usage player right now, it's pretty sad.
So personal feelings aside,
yeah,
do you think there's, as a basketball player, anything left in Kevin Porter Jr. potential-wise to be whatever it is the Clippers are envisioning for him right now? Which I guess is looking like the 6-man / possible lead guard of the future.
Lead guard of the future, no. Lead guard of the future, no. I don't think KPJ will ever be a starter in this league again. If that comes back to bite me, oh well.
I mean, that's not the worst thing to be wrong about, yeah.
He does have he's got moves, he's got a bag. If it leads to him shooting more efficiently, I can see that being an actual role for him. But he's not a good playmaker, like getting people open. And it just feels like anytime he does put up decent stats, it's just because the people around him are making shots by chance. A couple of his shots tend to go in. And he hasn't done anything so far that warrants him playing the minutes that he is at all. If he starts doing it, great. They waited on to have this guy that's probably a bad dude, and now they
troubled.
Yeah.
Has he gotten in a fight with Ty Lue yet?
I think Ty Lue loves him. I don't know how Jeff Van Gundy can stand him, but I think Ty is a fan. But I'd certainly rather see Jordan Miller get some of those minutes.
Yeah, me too. I like
some
him.
of those touches. I would love to see Jordan Miller be our offensive weapon off the bench, because our offense looks bad. Our defense is fine, but the offense, when it's not Norman Powell and James Harden with the ball, James Harden turning the ball over hella, but obviously James Harden.
Yeah.
Without them on the floor, we look bad. at least offensively. That's all I really have to say about the Clippers.
Well, I guess, we can turn it over to my side of the pond on Lakerland. I guess my big overreaction, the Lakers start off hot. They had I guess I kind of cursed them a little bit because in the last episode they were undefeated, and then I was talking big
during the episode.
Yeah, classic. And then here we are again talking about the Lakers, and they just lost to the Pistons, who, the Pistons are probably going to be really bad this year, but I do think they're a lot better than last year. So a lot of people are like, oh, horrible loss. Still a game we should have won. But the Pistons, especially that backcourt with Ivy and Cunningham, they look really good.
They do.
No,
they look like a competitive roster. Tim Hardaway and Tobias, people hate on them all they want. They are NBA players.
Knocking down open shots, which a lot of guys on the Pistons couldn't do last year.
And they're vets. They've been in the league for a while for a reason.
Right.
They might be paid a little more than some people think they should, but they are NBA players. Mm-hmm. And that's really all that team needed last year.
And decent coaching, which I believe they have now, because Jaden Ivey has a coach who actually is playing him, and it's amazing to see him grow. He looked great out there. That being said,
AD though still certainly an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Probably other than Tatum, Shea.
Yeah,
Luka,
Shea's having a good
Jokic, AD certainly belongs there.
I agree with you.
The way he's been playing. Has he had a bad game?
He looks fantastic out there. I mean, there are people who are just, weird. There are Laker fans, I'm putting them in quotes, who, professionally hate on Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's, this weird thing to make LeBron look better in their eyes or something like that. I don't know. There are people who, no matter how good Anthony Davis is, they're always like, oh, but he's soft. He sucks. Mm-hmm. LeBron carries him. This bullshit. Anthony Davis is a fucking awesome player, and he's playing amazing.
He's so big.
He's
so
definitely
strong,
the Lakers' best player
skilled.
right now. Yeah, super skilled.
My biggest criticisms about AD were his shot choice the last couple years, and he did have a tendency that anytime he would kind of try to make a post move or drive hard to the paint, he was going to throw his arms up, fall on the ground, scream. And
yeah, you did used to say that a lot. That he would do that.
And
he has.
It was every game that was happening 10 times a game. I wouldn't even have to pay attention to the screen. You would just hear AD.
Oh no, I know exactly what you mean. Kind of like Gasol used to do that a little bit too, for Lakers. But I think he's been really aggressive this year. I think he's been strong. I think he's definitely taken over the mantle as the Lakers' top player.
The offense looks
it's night and day.
It looks beautiful.
It's so good.
Yeah, and there's so much movement, so many screens. You have LeBron setting off-ball screens. It's so cool.
No, and the thing is D'Lo isn't even playing well.
No, he's not.
He had a horrible game last night. He's not shooting very well. He's not Austin Reeves has kind of taken over.
The bench is bad.
Yeah, the bench is pretty bad.
But they're still they look very good still. They still look like a team that can compete with anyone on any given night.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see them succeed this year. And I know they have high hopes, obviously, having LeBron, having AD.
The growth of Reeves.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if they definitely can turn this year into a very successful one. It's already been very fun for them. And I hope it continues.
I think compared to last year, I know the team was pretty decent last year with Darvin Ham, but it always kind of felt like there was this weird cloud over the team where it was
it felt like every game was a losable game.
Yeah,
versus
exactly.
Now it's it seems like, all right, they're coming in to win.
Mm-hmm. No, it definitely feels different this year, both vibe wise and just execution wise. How the team is playing, the rotations just make sense now. I would like to see a little more Dalton Connect. I know that's hard to do because he's young and defense and all that.
The bench needs it.
I agree. No, I definitely think he's arguably the best shooter on the team already, and we need that, I think. Absolutely. Right now. The bench, like you said, is not very good, so we just need that kind of spark off the bench to give the team energy. Is there anyone that you're
impressed with off the Lakers bench?
Funny enough, actually, I like Jackson Hayes this season, who is also getting investigated for previous. He could be suspended. But I kind of like.
I haven't
He's been
enjoyed
looking
watching
pretty
him, too.
decent. I like his energy. I like how he's actually.
He was someone I loved in New Orleans.
You did like him a lot back
and
then.
then I definitely saw like him kind of go down, his decision making going down, his defense wasn't really there, but he seems a lot more confident.
Yeah.
In his abilities, and like the Lakers seem confident putting him out there. And I know they are dealing with injuries, and I don't know how much he'll play when Christian Wood is back, when Vando's back. Vando's definitely going to be taking up some.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on Vando for sure, because he's going to be, like, assuming he comes back similar to the same guy he was prior to his injury. I mean, he's been injured for almost, like, a year and a half now, so it's kind of, like, a little concerning about his foot. But, I mean, that's a dude who I think we are relying a little too much on Rui Hachimura.
Sure.
So I would really like to get Vando back in the lineup to kind of just juice up the defense and the energy, a little more hustle out there.
Do you want Rui to come off the bench to kind of help the bench unit out? Or do you want to kind of keep it out as till you see if Vando's really back to where he is?
I think at this point you need to stick to what's been working. And I guess working is also in progress because it's not like a finished product or anything.
Sure.
But yeah, you go with where the chemistry is. And right now that core unit that we've been starting, they need to continue to play together and learn how to play together, because even if it's not the starting lineup anymore, when Vando is fully healthy and back, I do think that is the closing unit. So they do need to get comfortable with each other and know how to finish out games, 100%. Or at least play well together and execute. So
how do you feel about there's been a couple trade rumors involving the Lakers, involving D'Lo?
Yeah.
Did you see the one with Utah for Walker Kessler?
I will say real quick, I mean, I always take these trade rumors with a grain of salt because they almost never come out how they are rumored to.
Yeah.
Now, would I do D'Lo for Walker Kessler? Oh, yeah, I would.
D'Lo and a couple picks, apparently.
I'd still do it. Walker Kessler, I think, is nice.
I think he'd be great next to AD.
And I think the Jazz would be weird to give up on him that quickly.
I 100% agree. I mean, I could definitely be a ploy like it was with Lauri this whole offseason. How the Warriors were interested in Lauri. It seemed like there was a real possibility.
Yeah.
Just for it to be like, oh, well, no, it wasn't. That was never even in the cards. And who knows with what's his name?
Danny Ainge.
Yeah,
no, I know. Trader Danny's always doing, I feel like, especially when he was in Boston, he would just drive up like Terry Rozier. He wouldn't deal that guy for, like, picks, or he wouldn't include him in trades for, like, stars like Jimmy Butler or anything like that. So he's definitely someone who holds on to his assets sometimes a little too closely. But then again, the only two trades in recent memory that he's ever, like, gone big on was the big three and Kyrie Irving, which, like, I know the Kyrie thing didn't work out in Boston, but that is a trade that every GM does, like, pretty much 10 times out of 10, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the Tatum trade also, trading down.
Right, I mean, like, it wasn't flashy at the time, but look at it now. I mean, genius being able to trade down to get their guy Tatum. So
I will say, for Utah, I don't know if they are looking to move Walker Kessler, but another guy that, if you can pair Walker Kessler and Colin Sexton on any contender, that would be a lethal duo to add to, like, anyone.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, especially with Kessler, because I guess he had a weird down year last year in his second year.
Yeah, they definitely lost faith in him, and it didn't really make much sense.
Yeah, the rotations were odd. He was coming off the bench a lot.
They had 5 forward centers, slash centers.
A lot of John Collins at center.
He was also playing well since Lauri's been out.
I know, but like, John Collins is so, like, beige, John
Collins,
so boring.
Funny enough, that was a guy I desperately wanted for the Clippers a couple of years ago.
He would make sense for your team, I think.
We've always kind of been in need for that forward slash center guy. The guy that you can play him alongside Zubac, but also can play in that small
little
ball
bouncy, yeah. But yeah, he's been taking a lot of those Walker Kessler minutes, but his rookie and this year, his third year currently, he's looking like that kind of. He has the rim protection. He can rebound. He's shown potential to stretch the floor,
100%.
which that's like the most valuable archetype we've seen.
Absolutely.
Like that stretch big, kind of like the Wembys, the Chets, the prototype Porzingis, Miles Turner, Brook Lopez, even.
Those are very valuable guys.
Super
that
valuable.
Almost
yeah.
any team in the league would really love to have.
I mean, that's why guys like Sarr and even Jabari Smith back then were taken as high as they were, because it's such a rare,
100%.
valuable archetype. And I mean, I guess Cat was supposed to be that coming into the league. He's a little more offensive than I think a lot of people were projecting.
It was supposed to be like a defensive guy.
Yeah, who could maybe put up some points every now and then, and it's like the complete opposite.
Well, I'm not the biggest college guy, but didn't Cat average like 10 and 10?
Oh, I watched that
really
season
solid.
a lot.
He was just a really solid paint.
Well, he was also on a stacked Kentucky team.
Sure.
Like Booker was coming off the bench. He was playing next to Willie Cauley-Stein, who looked good at the time. I mean, I thought he was going to be like a Tyson Chandler type.
Willie.
He was nice. They had like a crowded backcourt with the Harrison twins. There was someone else on that team too who was what's his name? He plays for the Kings now.
Fox.
Not Fox. He 41 power forward. Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles was on that team.
I love Trey Lyles.
Yeah.
You're a big Trey Lyles guy.
I like him like as a role player. Now, if he was on the Lakers, I wouldn't be very excited about it. But like, you know, he's a very fundamental player. I mean, his favorite player growing up, I'm pretty sure, was like Tim Duncan, which
cool.
if you watch him play, like he plays a lot like a dollar store version of Tim Duncan, you know. But yeah, I mean, he's fine. But yeah, no, Cat was more so like the kind of guy, he looked like a defensive anchor. He could maybe hit the mid-range. I never saw him shoot threes. But he was a post-up kind of guy too. Like, he wasn't like, I mean, I guess he's kind of that now, but Cat's really evolved into this face-up player more so now. And he didn't really handle the ball in college. And Booker, our friend Gabe and I talk about this a lot. Coming out of college, he looked like a Klay Thompson kind of player, where he was like a catch and shoot kind of 3-and-D guy. But Booker is nothing like that in the league. He's way more dynamic. He's more so like
an all-around
almost
scorer.
like a Kobe Bryant type of player, you know, where he's like that kind of scoring guard archetype with his size, and he likes to use the mid-range more than the three-pointer.
My favorite thing about Book is how high he jumps for every shot.
Yeah, he's got a lot of lower body strength.
So I think it's so pretty.
I think his favorite player growing up was Kobe as well.
I believe.
Yeah. So you can see a little bit of the
disciple
similarities in their game. But yeah, no, a lot of these guys that come out of college, like my favorite example, honestly, but just because of how different I and a lot of scouts saw it versus how it turned out, was Bam Adebayo.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people were like, oh, this is like a Dwight Howard type of player. Which Dwight Howard's all-time top, in my opinion, top 75 player. You know, even though he didn't make the list.
100% he is.
Bam is just
also a bad dude. But
definitely
a
weird
bad
dude. Very weird dude. Laker legend. But Bam is just not at all that kind of player. He's a ball handling, he's kind of like a small ball center, like he's like 6'9" or something like that, and he's like a distributor.
Yeah,
like he's like a point center.
He's got that like Sabonis like where handoff game.
Yeah,
where that's a big part of his game is handoff screens, rolling hard, mid range, like bulk, like being a bruiser, but also someone that's very mobile and can guard almost any position.
Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, he's way more versatile. Not as quite as dominant defensively as Dwight Howard, but he can guard pretty much like
not quite the athlete of Dwight Howard, like strength wise.
Oh no, probably a little more lateral quickness. Yeah, right. So he could probably guard honestly any position on the floor. Yeah.
Almost as good as anyone. I think AD is someone that maybe I'd rather have guarding a lot of different guys. But Bam's certainly like in that conversation of guys that no matter who.
You can put him anywhere on the floor. And now he's taking threes. Yeah. Which I mean, I know Dwight has.
He's been struggling. If we do want to talk about Bam.
Well, you've been struggling like to start the season, and I guess shooting wise, because I guess now he's opened that door where you're gonna lose some efficiency.
You don't think he's looked a little passive though?
I don't know. Last couple of games, he was kind of nice. Yeah. You know, he's kind of looking like himself. I think it's just this weird thing with the Miami Heat, where with them, with the Warriors, with the Grizzlies. They're all too deep.
Interesting.
So it's hard for guys to get in a rhythm a lot of the time because there's a lot of minutes to go around.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in the regular season, that's like the best time to kind of play everyone because one, you want to see what you got, and also like you get to give guys rest. So, I think him and Jimmy, and I think Terry Rozier, because he kind of struggled last night, they're kind of still getting into rhythm, and they don't really look like themselves. A lot of teams, honestly, have kind of struggled at the gate, and a lot of high caliber players like Halliburton struggled. Now he's kind of looking like himself.
Jaylen Brown he's playing okay, but he's shooting the ball horribly.
Is he back from injury?
He's not.
Okay, so he's still out. Paolo just went down with a big injury.
There's been a couple big injuries. Kuz is apparently going to be out for a little while. Scotty Barnes is out. Who else?
I mean, piggybacking off of that is a lot of these guys like Franz who are expected to kind of take on the additional load. He's struggled to shoot the ball well with that additional workload.
Yeah.
But with the Raptors, though, I mean, RJ looks, he's had an incredible start to the season.
Yeah. He's played, 2 games, 3 games?
He may have played like a full 4 to 5 now, I think. He's been back, I think, for this week or week and a half.
Has he played with Scotty Barnes?
No, I don't think they've played together yet.
At all,
yeah,
like even last year.
Yeah, Scotty got hurt. Oh yeah, that's right. Because Scotty, they were in and out of the lineup together last year too, along with Quickly. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that Raptors team has really not gelled at all. I mean, to be fair, I think this team is just bad right now.
Well,
like they're good, but I don't think
they have a lot of good pieces.
I don't think Masai wants them to be good this year.
Yeah,
I think they're
don't
tanking.
Think so either.
Silently.
I mean, they were very open about that, but to be fair, like Pirtle has been playing really well. Grady Dick looks really great.
Awesome. Yeah.
RJ looks great. I have high hopes for IQ when he's back.
Yeah, me too.
And Scotty Barnes, he pulls it all together. There's nothing he can't do really.
We've also gotten a couple random. We've also gotten a couple random, really great Boucher games, which you love to see.
Obagi,
Mogbo. I mean, they got some nice pieces.
Yeah, they still have Kelly Olynyk, which will give them something in return.
Oh yeah, he hasn't played yet. That's right. Yeah,
that's definitely someone that most teams, if you need some front court depth, he's decent. He's always been someone that can put up some stats when you need him to.
Yeah, Kelly O's nice. The lunch lady, some people call him, Kelly O, he's nice. But yeah, no, that's right. He's playing with them now. His hometown team. Yeah, they're not very good. The Nets, on the other hand, though, a team that I thought was going to be one of the worst teams coming into this season. Probably a lot of people did. But you had mentioned that they were kind of looking like a destination for certain players, like possibly a Jimmy Butler, or now we've had reports that Giannis is interested in the Brooklyn Nets.
Especially, like, they have all their picks. They have Cam Thomas, who, while he's struggled the last couple games, like, he's still keeping them in games. He's still someone that, no matter what shot he takes, it's getting to the point where there is no such thing as a bad shot because you're expecting him to take a lot of shots, and it's making the defense adjust and having to guard him really hard and drawing a lot of attention, which is just going to open up things for anyone else who plays with them. Dennis Schroeder is looking like a really solid starting guard.
Do you think they keep him, though? Or they probably trade him?
They probably trade him. I'm not mad if they keep him. I think if they could do a really quick retool with Dennis Schroeder, keeping him around, hoping that they sign someone in free agency, and I don't hate what they have as a start. I'm not ready to say if Ben Simmons is a real NBA player or not.
No. I'm out. Fully on, but he didn't even play the other night.
Yeah, well, they're resting him back-to-backs.
Lame.
It is
Get that guy out of here.
Yeah. There was a report that their coach wants him to take 10 shots a game, and then...
I don't want Ben Simmons taking 10 shots a game. Why would you want him taking 10 shots a game?
I want him looking at the hoop 10 times a game, but I did see someone tweeted out that he hasn't taken 10 shots in a game for like 4 years.
That's insane,
which is really sad.
God. I didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah, it is that bad.
Jeez.
He's had a couple okay games though.
But I don't think he's part of the Nets' future, unfortunately, for him.
You think they're just gonna kind of wait for this contract to end?
Yeah, and for him to retire. Yeah, I don't think he likes basketball. I don't think he plays after this season. I think he collects his check and dips.
Fair.
I think he would much rather be a young socialite or whatever the fuck he likes to do than be an NBA player. Dead ass. I think he had his time where he's like, I'm gonna be an NBA star. And it came and went in Philly.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like being a role player, I don't think. I just don't think he likes basketball like that.
Yeah. I mean, every year they have hyped him up as not a role player, no matter what. Like, when it was with KD and Kyrie, it was like, oh, Ben Simmons is the perfect, pairing with them. Last year it was, oh, Ben Simmons is finally healthy and he's back into all-star form.
Ben Simmons is hitting threes in practice, video.
No, I'm definitely getting ready for the end.
I think it's time. You know, he had a good run. Claxton is like 15 times the player he is, and Claxton, you know, I think he's nice, but he's not league shattering or anything like that. You know,
I like the contract that they got Clax on this offseason.
So you think he's a keeper for Brooklyn?
Well, I mean, they signed him 5 years.
Yeah, true.
And there's no real reason to ship him away before he can realize himself.
Is there I don't know if you know the contract numbers like that. I don't have it up with me.
Maybe.
But you mentioned Jimmy Butler on episode 1, and now we have these reports about Giannis. Do they have the ability to team them up?
Team up
Jimmy and Giannis.
Maybe for the off season, because Jimmy's a free agent, so there's definitely wiggle room with that.
But they would have to trade for Giannis.
I think they would have to trade for Giannis. I think that is the main rumor towards Giannis, which I would love to talk about the Bucks in general.
Yeah, let's talk about the Bucks.
Giannis.
They're bad.
Giannis a couple days ago, kind of threatened the team. Definitely, put them on notice that.
Which I thought was smart, by the way.
It is smart. I'm glad he does it. He has the ability to do it. He's not like a top 20 guy saying it. No, he's a 1A on a championship team. I know that's
and he's done it before.
He's done it before. He's still that guy. He's playing fine. He's not struggling. It's a little weird how. I don't think it's his fault. I think people like to blame him, but for example, he doesn't guard the best player on any team.
I don't think he should though.
Yeah, that's not what he does.
He's their lead.
He's the anchor.
The whole thing with that too is he's still carrying the offense, which I guess they got Lillard to not have that happen. But then at the same time, they have what else do they have there?
I would like to see him, especially if he's going to stay on the Bucks, start to guard the best player, because they don't have anyone. Guards have been killing them. That's their biggest
Lillard's
thing.
not a good defensive guard.
A bad defender.
Yeah.
Gary Trent Jr. is
also a bad defender.
Not a good defender.
Yeah. He tries though.
He does try,
but he's not. Yeah.
I'm ready to see Giannis actually kind of take control and guard the best player on any team. He can, I think.
He could.
I want to believe that he has that ability.
He absolutely could. I just don't know if he could do it, 1, all game long, and 2, do it while also playing well on offense.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is he's the anchor, like you said, when he won Defensive Player and MVP the same year. Well, I guess, at that point, the Bucks were also a better team, so he really has to carry that offense and that defense now.
Yeah.
Brook Lopez is
Drew
so
Holiday
old.
And good Chris Middleton.
Yeah, good Chris Middleton who could guard.
Middleton set back also for his injury.
Yeah, I don't know if he even comes back at all the same. Even a little bit.
I'm
worried about him.
Upset about that.
I love Chris Middleton.
I was hoping it was going to be a Chris Middleton renaissance year.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, but it seems like he's been hurt and he's going to be hurt for a little while.
Yeah, they had that guy, which I thought was crazy because this is a Doc Rivers coach team, but they had that young guy, AJ Green, come in and he played pretty well. He had a nice shooting night. A wing for them who can kind of stretch the floor.
They're currently, 1-7?
Yeah, they're bad.
1-6.
But I hope that they play guys like him more because, like, for the Bucks, you can't just keep throwing like Pat Connaughton. Like, we're still throwing him out here. Torian Prince.
Yeah.
Like, I love the guy, but I think he's cooked. And like Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham on the same bench is just basketball terrorism. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's a real shame they didn't give Adrian Griffin more of a chance. I didn't think that Adrian Griffin was this, superstar coach signing at the time. But I think it's crazy to let go of a first-year coach when they were 30-18 or something when they let him go. And I know the reason why they let him go is because their offense was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
He was a first-time a head coach. You can give him, and it was also Dame coming off a trade at the last second with no training camp, upset, dealing with all of his personal issues. And since then, I saw this thing that I think Doc is under 500, maybe,
like for his career,
or on the Bucks, or maybe it's like just about 500.
Oh, that would probably make sense. Yeah, because they were really good, and then he took over the team, and they were kind of mid.
It was just
and
like
now they're
they
bad.
Changed. It was like their offense got a little bit better, but their defense got a little bit worse. And it was like, oh, what did we do that for?
Yeah.
Now Doc Rivers is at the helm. Great.
And he's allegedly making some front office moves.
Oh, fun.
That
always works.
You have more expertise on this than anyone. Yeah, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah. When he was in the front office for the Clippers, we made almost no moves, but the one move that we did move was we traded a first-round pick for renting Jeff Green for half a year.
Worth?
Not worth. Not worth at all. We also traded a pick to get Doc Rivers. Fun fact.
I remember that, actually. Yeah.
One of the first times.
That was the first time I learned that you could trade for a coach. Actually, yeah.
It was really strange
you could do
when
that.
happened. I was hyped.
Well, I mean, you were coming off Vinny Del Negro or whatever, who's like, he never even got another shot in the league, so... But no, I think for the Bucks, it's weird because, I mean, you go from Mike Budenholzer, who's a good coach. Maybe not an amazing coach, but a good coach.
Coaching philosophies that have proven successful.
Yeah.
He's a championship coach.
Yeah, he literally won a chip with
He is a
them.
modern NBA coach. Like Mike Bud Ball you're gonna put up a ton of threes, and that works alongside Giannis a lot.
Especially, exactly, because then it just opens up the floor for him.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, he won a championship with them. Then they fire him and bring in a first-time head coach, which is always risky. It's worked in the past, but it's risky.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened there. I guess there were alleged locker room tension between him and Giannis, which, I mean, you got to keep the star player happy, especially if he's Giannis.
Is the answer Doc Rivers?
That's what I was going to say. Bringing in Doc Rivers was the worst idea ever.
Especially, like, all the news that was like, oh, Doc had been in communication with Adrian Griffin, with the front office.
He was an advisor for the Bucks or something.
While being, like, on air, like,
and then
on
he
ESPN.
recommends himself to be the coach.
I hated that.
Interesting.
Could you see, so obviously, Giannis is kind of threatened that he might want to trade out in the future, might want to leave.
I absolutely think he leaves.
Do you see a possibility where they fire Doc and promote Darvin Ham to be the head coach?
I think if that happens, Giannis should just go up there with... He'll probably do it with Thanasis, because they're an item.
Of course.
And be like, we demand a trade.
Is Thanasis on the team?
Yeah, he's got to be.
I know he was a free agent.
There's no way that they would get they would kick him off. That would basically be the end of the Giannis era immediately.
He's not on the roster.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't think they ever picked him up.
Lakers, get on that, bro. Just sign him.
Who are the teams that they announced that could be in the Giannis?
I think it was Brooklyn. I remember was the
Miami,
big one. Miami was
Clippers.
The other one. Ew.
Yeah. It was so sick.
I hope he goes Brooklyn. That would be cool.
Brooklyn's cool. Miami the
would be
idea of it is kind of cool as far as just like, I love Spoelstra and Bam, but everyone else.
Imagine being Dame Lillard, though, where you like beg to go to Miami for 2 years and then you get shipped to Milwaukee and then your buddy in Milwaukee just goes off to Miami.
I think his contract's also like...
It would be comedy.
Couple different... it's decent amount longer. It's really expensive. And he's getting to that age where it becomes really tough for teams to trade for that.
For Dame?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's every team has a decent point guard for the most part.
Sounds like a Laker to me.
It does.
Past
like
his
a
prime
classic
superstar.
Laker.
Yeah.
Crazy that they had the opportunity with Kyrie in his prime, but just dealing with controversies, and they couldn't pull the trigger.
I personally believe that the Kyrie thing would not have worked here. Somehow, some way. It would have gone up at the LA thing. Him being in Dallas.
It made perfect sense.
I'm happy for him. I'm happy with where we're at. It's all good, brothers. Obviously, I'd rather have Kyrie Irving in a vacuum.
Of course. No, I totally understand what you're saying.
There's this weird Kyrie factor of it all, where I really believe...
And Laker factor of it all.
Oh, yeah, no, the Lakers are, like, cursed somehow, some way.
Like, if there are
when it comes to stars.
Yeah.
We make them look terrible.
At least there will be an era of them looking terrible, the stars looking terrible.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, like Westbrook. We had nothing to do with it. Westbrook was bad on the Lakers, but the world got to see it on the front big stage. You know.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard the first time. Steve Nash. God, so many.
AD had his moments where
AD's awesome.
Yeah, but he had his moments of looking horrible on the Lakers.
Yeah, like everyone has a bad game.
Oh, no, there was months where AD looked broken.
Okay, I'll give
shoot,
you this.
Had like no post moves.
I think you're referring to the second AD season where
second and third,
where they were coming off the shortest offseason in NBA history.
Sure.
Where they had just won the championship, so they played the most games. And this is Anthony Davis, who's made out of sticks. So, I mean, this guy needed a whole goddamn year.
I think it was more than that year that he struggled, to be honest.
But I would say his first year
was unbelievable.
Last year and this year, he's been top 5 player in the NBA. Yeah. He's amazing.
Yeah, he is. I'm a huge fan. I don't want to get it twisted. There were times where I hated watching AD on the Lakers. That's all.
I know.
Yeah.
You made it very known.
I wasn't that bad.
I guess, is there any other big rumors you want to touch on in this big NBA week of action? There's no games today, so we can talk about whatever we want.
There was a fun thing that I had a thought experiment with our friend Ryan driving to the Clipper game yesterday. Ryan Swartz.
Hell yeah.
We were talking about, the NBA always skips out on games on voting day, but or election day, but if they do expand and either get a second Canadian team or a Mexico City team, could you see like them be the only team that plays on election day? And like NBA does their whole vote, we're gonna play. Like all the American teams are not playing, but we still go. We're still gonna have NBA basketball.
But all the players are gonna be fucking American. None of them are Mexican. You know what I mean? Well, I guess now they could be European. There could be a bunch of Euros. I mean, that's the thing is the game is so international
you think it's
now.
for the players to vote? I don't think so.
That's the thing. I don't know how many. Real talk. I mean, do you think this is a fun thought experiment? What percentage of the NBA is voting today? Or in general, 10%.
That's my over/under, and I might take. If that's the over/under, I might take the under.
10%. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Do you see
I can't fight against that.
The LeBron, Kamala.
Yeah, he endorsed Kamala Harris.
It was a crazy video he posted.
Well, remember he called Trump like a bum, or some shit like that, like a while back. So yeah, no, he's made it known. His political views known. He's more than an athlete, as he likes to say.
He will not shut up and dribble.
Now, do you think he voted, though? You can endorse, but does that mean he actually voted?
Did LeBron personally fill out a ballot? No.
There's a ballot that says LeBron R. James.
No. I think that exists, but did he fill it out?
No, I don't think he filled it out.
Not trying to incriminate LeBron or anything, but do I think that's a realistic thing?
I mean, I could see Savannah doing it for him and voting on his behalf.
Sure.
Like, hey, can I get your signature here?
I think that's more really realistic.
Yeah, no, I don't think LeBron. Did LeBron and go to the post office and drop it off?
Certainly
No chance.
not.
No, I
Certainly
don't think that guy's been to a post office one time in his entire life.
Yeah,
it's good
if
stuff
we are
right
going to
there.
talk politics, not even about politics, but it just came up that Greg Popovich.
Oh my God!
is someone
Yeah,
that's been
let's
very
end. Yeah,
outspoken.
let's end the episode on this. He's outspoken on his views in health issues.
Yeah, like there was a
right
couple
now.
days ago where it was like, oh, it's not of concern. He just needs some rest. And then a day later, it was, oh, there is concern. And that's about all that's been released since. And yeah, it's definitely scary.
I'm not here to start rumors, so I'm not going to. But I do think that this could be the last season that Popovich coaches. I'm not gonna speculate on like his health or what's going on. I mean, he's old.
He is.
And his wife passed away
Mhm.
years back, and I know that weighs heavy and hard on especially older people. And he I mean, this is his whole life, is basketball.
It is.
And if it weren't for Wemby, I mean, I'm sure this guy would have retired by now,
For
honestly.
sure. Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, you could say Wemby is giving this guy a reason to live. I know. But jokes aside, I really do hope that, I mean, Greg Popovich is one of the greatest coaches ever, one of the great NBA personalities. Probably, I don't want to speak for you, but probably one of your favorite coaches.
Yeah, a huge inspiration.
Yeah.
Just someone that, so much love for the game has been a huge part of the growth of the game, and someone that's really like empowered players, and was someone that he never was a big ego being a coach, which wasn't really a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was part of like, oh, if you were a great coach, you had to have a big ego, you had to be like very like controversial almost, and he really wasn't. Like, his biggest controversy is that he's outspoken against Trump,
And I guess he was the guy who kind of started resting his players,
Sure.
which you can call that a controversy, but on Greg Popovich's behalf, it's like, look, I'm giving my players a rest,
Yeah.
And he also brought in a lot of European players, which, as we've seen, pretty good, pretty good for the NBA. So, yeah, controversial in his own way, in a good way, you could even say,
Before we end, do you want to do some light award predictions?
Yeah, I'm going to give out a couple.
Okay. Start
All
us
right.
off.
I think, well, one thing I've noticed is...
You want to start with the BS awards?
Oh, yeah, sure. Most improved.
Most improved, clutch player.
I mean, most improved. It's tough because sometimes they actually get a good pick in there, and sometimes they'll pick someone like if they pick Wembanyama this
like
year,
the
some
Ja
shit.
year
Yeah,
was
the Ja year
nonsense.
was stupid. I think it would be kind of weird too, like
I could see Cam Thomas
Cam Thomas, sure.
if he continues to.
But I guess
average a ton of points,
the thing with
and
that though
they'd be decent.
is, did he improve or did he just get a face full of minutes finally? Like, that's also the weird thing with this award.
Yeah.
It's like you can see some players like legitimately improve,
Sure.
right? Like
Like the Laurie year.
Lauri Markkanen is a fantastic. Julius Randle
was
great example.
But like BI was someone that people believed in, and then he just went to like a new market.
Yeah, I don't
And,
really know how much he improved.
Yeah.
Or maybe Pascal Siakam was a good example.
Pascal
He won,
Siakam was a
right?
great
Yeah,
example,
he
but
improved
also-
a ton.
He improved a ton, but he also was given a ton of minutes, and that there was no Kawhi that year.
I remember, well, even in Kawhi's championship year, he looked
was
like
decent.
a completely different player. Because I remember
Sure.
when his first couple of years, I didn't think Siakam would be
Oh, I thought he was good.
anything. Like, I don't know. Maybe
I
I
thought he
didn't
was
watch
good.
him close enough.
When
but
Kawhi joined, I thought Pascal was the 2, and I thought he was a decent 2 at that.
Oh, he was.
Well, he wasn't quite the 2. Kyle Lowry was still.
Well,
great
I
then.
think Kyle Lowry was like the leader of that team, but
Yeah.
like scoring wise, for sure,
Scoring-wise.
Pascal was the 2
Yeah.
option. I think. Yeah.
And I think he definitely kind of set himself up really well. Like in that playoff run, he started, showing some signs that he could be a good scorer. And then that year without Kawhi, Toronto was really good still.
Yeah, they were like one of the
good.
best teams in the East.
They were definitely riding that championship high, but
Kawhi probably would have gone back to back if he stayed.
I don't know about all that.
I think they absolutely beat. You don't think that looking at that season, coming out.
Sure, actually,
It was them
point.
or Miami.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And then they faced the Lakers, who, God, I love that Lakers team, but against Kawhi?
That's I just don't know how much better that team was than the Clippers at that time. Obviously, the Clippers had a lot of things go wrong, like mentally and like.
That team, I think, obliterates the Clippers.
I don't know. The Clippers were built really well.
That Toronto team was.
We were much deeper.
That Toronto team was one of the best teams.
They did get OG who didn't play in that playoff run or most of that year.
Yeah, they had OG.
The resurgence of OG.
Fred VanVleet.
Lowry was great. Freddie was great.
Come on, man. That team was elite.
It was. I will say that Clipper team, they had... it was good. It was good. Pat Bev, Lou Will, Montrez were the top two bench players in the league for the last 20 years.
It was the same team that Nuggets ate their lunch.
Oh yeah. I mean, we were up 15 in every single game, which has also been a thing for this year. We've been up every team by 20 points, and we're still have a losing record. But
Ty Lue problem.
It was a Doc River.
Doc River problem. That's right.
I mean, the other thing is,
that's right. He was coach.
Paul George did cheat on Doc Rivers' daughter before we traded for him.
Yeah, this is
Yeah. Okay.
No, I was gonna say this is how you don't build a roster. You know what I mean? Like I think if you're gonna do that,
but
dump Doc Rivers.
On paper, I don't think that Toronto team was much better than the Clippers. The Clippers had many issues, 100%. But I do think that
what
there
do
was
they have to do with the Toronto going back to back? They would never even had to face the Clippers.
No, I just mean that Clipper team based built around Kawhi better than the rest of the Raptors.
All of us coming into the season would have said that the Clippers were a more enticing destination. Yeah. I would agree with you.
That's all I mean.
I totally agree. Well, especially with the Paul George trade. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1,000%.
Did we give a MIP? No.
Let's give one. MIP.
I said Cam Thomas, but I don't really love that.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give it to Zubac. I think he does this all season long.
What do you think he needs to average to get there? I think his rebounds are gonna stay at like 12, 13. He's gonna be a top 5.
How much is he scoring right now?
Well, it's tough because he started like 23. I think he's probably down to 19.
If Zubac
18 and 12,
18 and 12 would get him the most improved player.
I'm fine with it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I like that one.
Official Miles and Miles.
Yeah, we'll both co-sign on that one.
Co-signed Zubac for MIP. Okay.
I guess if I had to give like an honorable mention, I'll give it to, and this is kind of leaning into the stupid tier.
Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson's going to win it.
I don't know about that.
I think they're going to give it to him.
Jalen Johnson.
I think his stats are going to be there.
But I think he broke out last year. Like, is he really doing that much different than last year?
The thing about last year is he started hot and then he kind of plateaued and almost slowed down a little bit. Whereas this year he started bad the first week, but since then he's been unbelievable. He's playing the most minutes. He's putting up every single stat, and I wouldn't be surprised. Last year he averaged 16 and 8. And I think he's going to be a 20 and 10 guy, and I think that gets him the award.
I could see it. I mean, he's one that a lot of people were talking about coming into the season too. Yeah.
And I think that also plays a part.
One that I'll put an honorable mention down, and this is kind of leaning into the dumb territory because he's a high draft pick, but Jaden Ivey.
It's not bad at all.
Because everyone knows I'm a big fan, but he struggled mightily last year, and I would even though I think he had a nice rookie season, he struggled with his shooting, with his playmaking, and his turnovers and everything like that. But he was always a great finisher. He's always great in transition. But now he's shooting well. He's smart. He's playing fantastic. He's even locked in on defense. I honestly think he's 1A and 1B with Cade right now. Yeah. Honestly, I don't think Cade's that far ahead of him.
I was upset that people before the season started were bringing up, is Cade even the point guard? I think I mentioned this in the first episode that we did. But Cade has really taken upon himself to be the distributor of this team, and with all the added spacing, it's really worked out. And it's opened up things for Ivy to take on a much more scoring role.
Yeah,
and I do like that. It is very 1A, 1B on the scoring front.
Definitely.
No, I like that pick. I think I'm looking at the standings, looking for anything that jumps out, and I'm not really seeing much.
It is early, but that's my early pick.
Of course. All right.
Six Man, my least favorite award. The reason why I hate the Six Man award is because they just kind of give it to scorers.
I hated it last year. I thought Naz Reid, I liked that he won because I like Naz Reid, but did I think he deserved it? No. I thought he had a good year, but I thought Malik Monk deserved it last year. And the fact that Bobby Portis was third last year, Bobby Portis was bad all of last year. And the fact that they rewarded him by being like,
it's because he scores.
Yeah, he put up okay stats, but they weren't great. I think it was 13 and 7 or 8.
Nothing to write home about.
Nothing to write home
no.
about.
I mean, there was that 1 year where Taj Gibson was literally a starting player coming off the bench.
Sabonis.
Stuff like that. But you'll see Jamal Crawford scoring an inefficient 16 points a game and lock up the Six Man award.
Lou Will did it right.
Lou Will had that 1 year where he was legitimately maybe all-star level.
Unbelievable.
But toward the end, he did have a couple of those just jacking up 16 points a game, not doing anything.
He averaged 20.
I mean,
Luke 20 out the bench. We were a 500 team with him as our top scorer.
No, I remember those teams.
That was a great year.
But yeah, no, Six Man is a tough one because it's either there's ones that we probably and a guy like Andre Iguodala probably should have won a Six Man of the Year award, right? Never did because he didn't score enough.
I have a lame choice for my pick. I think Naz goes back to back.
Really?
Because I think he improves on last year, and the voters are gonna look at that and be like, well, we gave it to him last year, and he's better. And there's no one else that I think is going to improve that much. As much as I love Malik Monk, his role has gone down slightly.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It's not a very fun answer. But
no, I mean, it's hard for me to even think of who else would even be in contention here.
Yeah, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of six men.
No, there's not. And usually they give Six Man, I feel to a good team.
Yeah.
Usually.
I wish Amen Thompson was playing a little better because I would love to put him into that.
It would be cool.
At least to start the season, he isn't in that conversation at all. Yeah, that's.
I guess Naz Reid. I guess Malik Monk and Naz Reid.
I think it's gonna be the standard.
They race again for the Six Man award.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Go
sorry, I'll throw out maybe because of the. I think because to qualify, you just have to sit more games than you start. So Karis LeVert, I could see.
DiVincenzo is another guy on that Minnesota team.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
So yeah, maybe those two. Maybe sneak into that conversation.
I'm happy with that.
All right, cool.
There's a big BS award, Clutch Player of the Year.
That's real.
2 years ago,
Does that count?
Fox was the winner last year. Steph. It might be a spoiler to who I pick for MVP, but I think that they're gonna give Clutch Player of the Year to Luka.
Well, I guess
they're not. They are not. They blew out Orlando without Paolo, but I think they're not as good as OKC, for example, who is my MVP pick. But and I think they're just gonna they're gonna be in some close games. Luka's gonna do Luka magic stuff, and they're gonna give him that award. It's a BS award.
Yeah, I don't know how to rate this one because I feel like the clutch plays have to happen, and they're sort of random how when they come into play. Like a team like Steph back in the day when they would just blow guys out all the time. You're not gonna have a lot of clutch moments.
Yeah. I could see Jokic winning it on some random stuff.
Jokic, Tatum was a guy I was thinking of, or Shea.
But I don't think Tatum's gonna be it. Tatum and Shea's gonna be in a lot of close games.
That's a good point.
That's all.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Yeah, I don't know how to qualify that one.
That's fair.
Not a real award.
It's not a real award. Coach of the Year?
Coach of the Year. I would say the early pick I would have right now. I
think there's a couple.
I don't think he wins it because I ultimately do think the Nets tank.
Oh, the Nets?
But Jordi Fernandez is doing a great job with the third place Nets in the Eastern Conference, a team everyone thought would be terrible. They probably still
they're
will
500,
be terrible.
But
nobody thought they'd be 500
sure.
right now.
No, you're absolutely right.
People thought they would be 0 and whatever. The Nets look pretty good.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say a couple names that are just going to be put over. I think Kenny Atkinson with the Cleveland. If Cleveland,
that's a good one.
If Cleveland pulls out a top 2, top 3 seed,
That's
I can
a really
easily
good
see
one.
that. Missoula obviously could if the Celtics win 60-plus games again.
JJ Redick.
If the
Maybe.
Lakers are a top 4 seed, I'm not mad at that at all. Budenholzer, you can say the same thing about Phoenix. Like those are the guys. Like they're 6-1 right now. I know it's.
I know.
They've had a lot of bad games. They haven't looked great at all. I know we spent a portion of last episode talking about how bad they were, but they are 6-1. Mark, the OKC guy.
Oh, Mark Denol or whatever. He won it last year, right? I thought he did.
Did he, or did Chris Finch?
Oh yeah, you're right. Finchy may have won.
I think maybe Mark won. I don't know.
They should have given it to Finch because I don't think he has a shot at it this year.
No, he doesn't.
But Dagnall, I could see winning it this year.
That's all the people I would.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Jordy Fernandez is probably like my shout-out pick. Yeah. But yeah, real talk.
I think
Kenny Atkinson's a nice pick.
Is the coolest one.
That's a nice pick.
I like JJ Redick too.
I love JJ Redick, man.
The quotes, I love all JJ quotes. What else?
We did 6-man. Depoy.
Depoy. I kind of want to stick with Chet. I just think they're going to be the number 1 defense in the league. And he's going to be the one anchoring that.
That's a really good pick.
I don't see Rudy doing it. I don't see Wemby doing it.
Anthony Davis.
AD could definitely be in conversations, but I do think he's going to be more. I don't think the Lakers are going to be a top 10 defensive team.
Yeah, maybe not.
And I think that's usually what keeps them out of that race, is just the fact that they're not.
Yeah, I'd say Chet's on my list. AD's on my list.
And I'm not upset about a guard winning, but
I want to see Bam win it. If it's not AD, because obviously I want AD to win it, Anthony Davis.
I think similarly with AD, I just don't think Miami's going to be a top defensive team enough to get that.
I mean, by the looks of it right now, you're totally right. They look so sluggish right now. God.
And OKC, it's not all Chet. They have everyone is ready to guard.
Everyone's locked in, yeah.
But I do think they tend to reward that to the center of the best defensive team.
That's a good point. Yeah, I can see it. Rookie of the year, I guess. We could throw that one out there.
Yeah.
All right, I'll change mine right now.
Oh.
Bub Carrington. Your guy, who I honestly didn't even believe would get enough minutes this year. I think he's going to be the guy who probably locks it up. Honestly.
Really?
I do. I mean, I guess the other pick would be Sarr, who's also a wizard.
Or Edey still.
Edey did have a nice game.
We mentioned Edey. He is going to continue to start, and I do think he probably continues to get better.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about Edey coming into the season, and I think last night he finally looked elite. Mm-hmm. He had 22 and 11 or something.
He also missed one shot, and I think that's a little, take with a grain of salt.
Sure, yeah.
But even if he can average close to 10 and 10, that's rookie of the year quality for sure.
I think Bub's gonna get minutes rest of season.
Yeah. Bub, Sarr, and Edey are they the only rookies that are starting right now?
Keyshawn George right now, due to injuries though, is starting. Sarr
playing well
is starting. Jalen Wells, due to injury, is starting, and I think he technically leads rookies in scoring right now. Reza Shea, due to injuries.
Yeah, but he hasn't been doing it.
He hasn't been lighting the world on fire.
Yeah, I don't think the role is there. I know we mentioned in the first episode that maybe that role was there.
It should be, though. That's just crazy.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not. You're right. No, you're not. You're right. It's not there. But
I think it's going to be between Edey, Sarr, and Bub.
I could honestly see it being... the way I look at it now... I think it's those 3 wizards are going to be fighting each other for the award.
That'd be cool.
What a draft class by the Washington Wizards. Yeah, honestly.
I thought
brilliant
so as the draft happened. People were either really high or really low on Keyshawn George.
He's amazing.
He's good.
He's incredible.
He's good. Yeah. He's good. Bub's good. Sarr's good.
Yeah, they're all really good.
I'm very happy with how the Wizards are looking. And Poole,
amazing.
Poole. I mean, not to divert and talk about the Wizards, but Poole is leading the league, or like he's second in stocks.
Yeah, no, that was crazy seeing that last night. He had 4 blocks or something like that. It was like unnatural almost.
Yeah, it's not going to continue, but
I mean, he's just like last year. Everyone was hating on him because of like poor effort and dumb plays, and I mean that's just not happening right now.
No,
he's
they're
playing
a
really.
fun
He's
team.
really locked in. Yeah,
they're a fun team that I think we'll probably talk about a couple times more.
I mean, is it any coincidence that they're fun and pretty cool and good without Kyle Kuzma?
No,
Probably
it's not.
not. Probably
Certainly not.
totally related. But yeah,
Are we just down to MVP?
down to MVP. Then we'll.
I mean, I already kind of
watch
spoiled
the world
mine.
burn.
I'm picking Shea.
I'm also picking Shea.
I think they're going to be the 1 seed, almost no question in the West. I know it's tough saying that, but based on how they've looked, based on their depth, based on the fact that they don't even have IH back, I think they're going to cruise to the 1 seed, and he's going to average similar numbers, and they're going to give it to him this year. He was the runner-up last year. I know a lot of people were wanted to say like to say that Luka should have won last year, but Shea was the runner-up,
Yeah.
and I think they give it to him this year.
I could see it being Shea. I think I'm also gonna pick Shea just based off of how things are looking right now. I think Tatum.
Tatum's gonna be it.
Tatum's probably my number 2 right
He
now.
should be. Luka if the Dallas is good enough, but I think that's it.
Yeah, I think those are probably my
If Jokic can
exact.
somehow carry this Denver team to a top 3 seed again.
I mean, I love Jokic, but I don't know if it's his year this year.
I mean, he is the best player in the world still, but it's probably not.
Probably not his
It's
year.
probably not he's probably not going to become the 4-time
MVP. That'd be pretty crazy, though. I mean, he has it in him, like no doubt.
no
It's just I don't
question.
think the
No
Nuggets are
question.
good enough.
Yeah.
They're not gonna have the narrative. I mean, I think this is really feeling like either like the Celtics
Yeah.
bounce, like strike
Celtics
back,
65 games,
like
Tatum MVP,
or the Thunder and Shea
yeah.
really taking their rise to the top and being an elite West team. I think
Both are fun.
those 2 narratives are there, and then obviously Luka.
I'm in on that. On if it's a Shea versus Tatum narrative, I think that's a fun narrative.
That's a fun one.
It's
Yeah.
new. It's
East versus West.
yeah,
You know. Yeah.
It's the expected, Western Conference and Eastern Conference champions. The
Definitely.
expected finals matchup. I think it'd be very, very fun.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Those
Yeah.
are our picks. Let's see how wrong we are
Yeah.
come March or whenever they put these things out. But yeah, we'll be back next week with election results.
Yeah.
And
Probably not in the car.
probably not in the car. That was this episode special. So consider yourselves
Hopefully it wasn't
lucky.
too bad, too hectic with all the cars passing by us.
Thought it was
A little-
fine.
I'm a little worried, but we'll see.
All 12 of them will understand.
Oh, yeah.
So-
You don't have to. Should I call them out by name?
we can cut that part out. We can cut that part out. Have a good night,
Have a
everybody.
good night. Bye.